This recording is from here at Elements of Life Institute, and I'm Dr. Hone.
And I'm Heather Harmony. And we are so excited to tell you the answers to the 5 questions that Tammy gave to us and wants us to address. We love Tammy, and we're super excited to be here and talk about this. So let's start with the first question. And the first question is, what is Qigong? David.
Well, we could get really technical with it and go, Qi is breath. It is also the number 3, the original lines for it. And that it's also the vital energy that fills all things, or the vital light that fills all things is one of the definitions. And Gong, which is the second word, Qi Gong. Gong is cultivation and the skill. Like when you work at something, if you have skill and ability to utilize it. So Qigong is the skill of working with Qi and the ability to cultivate Qi, to utilize it in everything you do in life. Now, Qigong, as it's known today, has multiple parts. A lot of people are familiar with the exercises and the movements. Some know the meditations, that there's meditations with it. And some are aware that there's clinical use for it, that it's part of energy medicine, that it's also known as Chinese energetic medicine. And some people call it medical Qigong. It's also got a spiritual component to it, because when you practice Qigong, it affects every part of your life, from physical to energetic, to emotional, to mental, to spiritual. They all get affected. And it happens because it is the utilization of the thing that makes everything up, which is Qi, or life force energy. So it's also the Chinese, the method is very holistic, but yet can still deal with the reductionalist. So reductionalist is like in the West, where we look at single parts. We have doctors that deal with just cardiovascular system and neurological systems, or ear, nose, and throat doctors, right? And they specialize. On the other hand, in China, you can't have one without the other. You have to have all of it. It all mixes together. And so they look at all the different causes and effects of the things, like in an environment, like how the earth works, and they relate a lot of it to the earth. And so Qigong is able to do this with those 2 medicines. It's able to get them working together, and so that they can flow and make this beautiful design and pattern. So I like to say that Qigong is a good way to connect everything and to work from both a holistic, and yet you can still go down to a reductionist type view and bring them nicely together. So that's the technical view. But Heather, I'd like to know, what is Qigong to you? Because you're a good practitioner, you're an excellent practitioner. I'd like to know, what is Qigong to you?
Well, thank you, first of all. The way I like to explain it is similar to a garden analogy. So in a garden, you begin to cultivate the dirt, you turn the dirt and pull out the rocks, and you'll add ingredients to the soil. And so you create this beautiful base, and then pull out the things that you don't want. And then you add the things that you do want, adding the seeds or the water and the nutrients to make what you want to grow. And then lastly, a garden needs caring for. You can't just leave it. It won't do exactly what you want it to do if you don't tend to it. And so there's adding in every day the nourishment or the sunlight or the water. And so it's similar to that. We cleanse the things that we don't need in our body, physically, spiritually, energetically, mentally, even nutritionally. We get to cultivate and work with all of those things in the garden that bring the most beautiful fruit, or the most beautiful vegetable, or the most beautiful flower. And so Qigong is like that. It's a holistic practice that is intrinsic. It doesn't need anything from an outside source. It comes from me, like that. vital life force that runs through me connects to heaven, the heavens, it connects to the earth, and the human in me makes the magic flow and makes the magic together. So it's a beautiful spiritual, energetic, and physical practice all wrapped up in one that has been backed up by science and is amazing.
You know what? I so agree. And that's why I love how you went through and used the garden. The garden is something that this is our garden, right? And we can do so many things with it. I thought of another thing to mention too, and that is that what is used in Qigong? I know it wasn't the questions, but part of what is it? What parts are there? I mean, we have so many different things that make up this medicine. Some people think it's only the exercises or it's only the table work, but we use crystals and gems, like it's part of our healing. We use sound, like tuning forks and singing bowls, and our voice to move and do different things and to teach the body how to do it. We use, you name it, there's things in it that are similar to craniosacral and foot zoning, and all these other branches are at different levels, all contained within the science and study of it. And it's over 4,500 years old. And it's got more empirical evidence than anything. But the thing that none of that matters without what you're talking about, with the intrinsic quality that it's already in you, that it's part of something that when you have the heaven and the earth, and then it's what you do with it and how you cultivate that and how you utilize it. So I love that.
Thanks.
You know, I think we could go on to the next question here too. So the next question, how do you know it's real? That's a really good question. And we have people ask us all the time. In fact, one of my favorite things is when I hear people like Heather or even Sifu Johnson, who's one of my teachers, tell their story, or they experience something like, it's real, okay? Because Qigong is experiential. Wouldn't you say, Heather?
Absolutely. How I knew it was real is I could feel it. I saw changes in my body over time through my own cultivation. I'm a practitioner, and so people get on the table and whatever's ailing them or whatever they came in for, they leave a different, like a different makeup, a different body. We bring them back to, and I say we, but we bring them back to the original state. And when I say original, I don't mean like from where you came or where you were born, that state. I'm talking about the perfected or the whole state. Think of the original apple or the original pine tree, the very essence of and the perfection that all went into that first creation. And so we can bring you back to that a beautiful state, the original state.
I love that. And the original state, you know what that means? We use that in the Chinese terms, Yuan Qi, Yuan Jing, Yuan Shen, which means original mind, original heart, original body, right? And when we think of that, it's that perfect template that might have gotten distorted in some way, and we're bringing that light out, right? And then in our personal practice, and both you and I have experienced this, is it's also that we had to experience it in our own practice. There were things that it had to move us in a way, like you were talking about the intrinsic quality, right? But it was the experience. So we actually wanted you guys to experience a little bit of that tonight. So we thought we'd do the Qi ball, just have you guys make a Qi ball and feel part of it right here tonight. So let's plant our feet down on the floor and sit up a little bit, drop the shoulders down. It doesn't work well when you're all cramped up. You know, Qi likes to flow in a nice open state. So with your feet down, you're going to take your hands, put them together, start rubbing them together, right? And put your mind to it and feel yourself sink into the earth a little bit and feel earth Qi rush up into your hands. Feel heaven Qi or the Qi from above come down and also join it in your hands. Your hands might get a little warm, okay? And now just gently take and start separating it. And imagine in your mind that it builds a ball between your hands. And with that ball, look at it. Even if you can't see it, some of you can, some of you might not be able to. Just hold it there. Now feel if you want to, as you're there, now imagine a beautiful color coming into it. Like, let's say it was for your heart, okay? Well, that color is a vibrant red color, a beautiful red color. So let's put a red light in there that's almost like fire. It's like a flaming fire, but it's red, deep red, and has life. And feel as you kind of press in a little bit, feel how that has pressure and it pushes back. That little bit of pressure is like two magnets. That is the magnetic feeling of qi. If you can't feel that magnetic, do you feel any tingling? Or do you feel any warmth? Or even breeze like coolness? It's what you feel in it. And however that is to you. It could just feel like a little vibration. Now you take that, and we want to put that in the heart because it's going to help your heart. So we're going to come put it in. We're going to receive that into the heart. And just open up and let that go in. You can have the right hand on top of the left hand, and then just kind of pull it down. We're just going to let any excess come down to the small intestines into the navel. The reason we do that is because if anybody has any heart condition or things like that, it won't hurt their heart. Because Qigong is very real. Qigong is exceptionally real. And one of the things it helps with is heart conditions. But it can also hurt a heart condition if it's not used properly. Because just focusing on those colors and those other things changes it. And can change the whole situation. It needs to be bright red. That's the color we want it. But we also want it to be rooted in the body. So Qigong's a science. And if it didn't work, this is one of the things is they got rid of it. If it didn't work for people, they were like, nope, that's not real enough. So we should change it. So that's a little bit, hopefully you felt that. If you didn't, talk to us. We'll find something else because eventually, if you do your work, you can. How do you feel about that, Heather?
I think that's great. I know that Tammy gave this group individually this a lot of evidence, science-based evidence of the practice of Qigong and why it is real. I know that I've had many experiences that I've been like, oh my gosh, like, okay, it really is, it's surprisingly real. But yeah, I think experience is one way to see it, and then look for the experiences that others have had as well.
Yeah. Well, and we think about that, and you and I could probably individually share a lot of just single stories on how that is. And maybe when we get together live with the people there with Tammy, maybe there'd be some interest and people could ask some of those questions and some of those stories, because there are so many, both in the clinic and in personal practice and in other things. It is so usable, and it's something that can apply to so many parts of life as well. Which brings us to the next question. Do you want to take the next question? What was that one?
Let's see. The next question was,
I'm sorry, I threw you off.
how can you use it or apply it in your everyday life? Right?
Yeah, and how does an ordinary person do that, if you don't mind? Like,
Okay.
is it for anybody or just only some?
It's for it can be for everybody. You can be 0 to 99 to 110. Anybody could use Qigong. Specifically, probably with this group, maybe these people are interested in serving. Maybe these people are interested, well, we know they're interested in health and energetics, holistic health. And so let's take, for instance, any of you might have children. Some of you might have children, or have grandchildren, or have a sister, or brother, parent that you could help in this way. So let's say your child comes home from school and they're frustrated or angry. Well, if you've learned a little bit of Qigong, you'll know that that's stored right in the liver. So you also could know that that there's a color and a sound, a healing sound that goes with it, and an original virtue. So you could bring that little child over, ask them to connect with their liver, ask them to bring down this beautiful green light from the heavens, and wash it all the way down and bring it to their liver right where their hands are. Bring up the wood element from the earth, And then they could imagine releasing any of that frustration and pushing it out with that green light. Or they could just simply focus on the original virtue of compassion. Or they could say, use the sound as well. So they could say, "Go." And that's one of the sounds. That wasn't very good, but that was one
That
of the
was really
sounds.
good.
You could use that sound. They could use that sound to release some of that frustration or that anger and some of that stagnant chi, so that they don't walk around and carry that throughout their lives. I'm pretty sure that most of you are aware that our emotions have been with us from the time that we were young and little, and those acquired emotions, right? So we have these original virtues, and then we have these acquired emotions that come. And so similar to the garden, it's just, what do we want more of? What do we need to pull out? What's not serving us? Even though this flower's pretty and it's not really where we want it, so we're going to move it and put it somewhere else, maybe put it in the right spot, or it's no longer needed. So with gratitude, we give that away and say, you can go over there. But we keep our garden moving and keep our garden clean. And so could everybody use some self-cleansing? Could everybody use a daily shower? Could everybody use pulling out some of that mom trauma or that childhood trauma? Qigong has a beautiful way. And one of the things I loved about it is sometimes you don't even need to know the story. Sometimes you're just like, it's stuck here. I'm just going to move it. I'm going to get it physically. I'm going to get it spiritually. And I'm going to pull the energetic out as well, and the mental part out. And I'm just going to bring in what I need, what's going to serve me. So
I love that. I think one of the beautiful things is that Qigong can work in almost any part of life. So whether you're doing treatment or you're doing other things, it helps you also strengthen your visualization and intention. It gives you tools. Like a lot of what you were saying there is just like, here's a tool belt. Here's something. Now go take that tool belt. We're going to teach you what to do. Now go use it to first improve your life and then come and serve others. So, and that's whether it's in the workplace, like it doesn't matter what your work is, whether you're a practitioner, whether you're just someone who just is in the home and wants to help out at the home, or you're having health problems and you want to get healthy. You know, it doesn't really matter the reason. It's more of this works for everybody, and in some way for what they want to put into it and where they want to focus in it, because it is such an expansive medicine. It's just there are different specialties. There's different things you could focus on, right?
can I jump in and name a few of those?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. So Qigong is super great for reducing stress. What's the number one cause of most dis-ease in the body?
Stress.
Stress. Yeah. So
Anxiety, stress.
anxiety, strengthening the immune system, calming the nervous system, calming all of the systems, or making them run in the perfected state. Relieving pain, increasing longevity, the libido, like who doesn't want that? Vitality, and reducing the risk of chronic diseases, relieving or releasing acquired emotions, and physical discomfort, pain.
You know, there's so many studies done with how that helps. Like there is study after study after study that shows that it increases your telomere length, which helps with, you know, our aging processes and everything else. And in turn also helps our libido. It helps, which is our drive for life. It's not just like sex is great, you know, it's a good part of it, but it's that drive, that creativity, that ability to do things. It's also like you were saying, most of those things have to do with our immune system and our ability to just, it's everything. Reduction of pain. As you get older, pain becomes more real. And if you have a way to keep that from stagnating, I think, you know, and the list could probably be endless on what we could say you could use it for. You can use Qigong in your cooking and in nutrition and in wellness. You can use it in so many areas. I'm glad you brought this up, because it just is endless, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, why would someone want to learn it though? With all of those things, why do you think someone would want to learn it? And let's break it down into two categories. Let's do the lay person or someone who's just everyday run of the mill. They're not necessarily trying to do too much. And let's say a practitioner. And then actually let's do three categories. And then let's do the one who's like the shaman mystic, person. So if we go a lay person, a practitioner, and a shaman mystic.
Okay.
Which one would you like to take?
I'll take the I'm gonna go the practitioner.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so somebody that maybe already has other tools in their tool belt. Why would they want this one? In my experience, I've worked with other practitioners not doing Qigong. They're gifted and they're talented and they've honed their skills in many ways. We all become, I've seen the depletion. I've seen the I take care of everybody else, but I don't take care of myself. I've seen that
I'm
one
not guilty of that at all.
a number of times. And so Qigong is first a self-cultivation practice. And you really have to do that before you can go out and take care of other people in that way. You have to be doing your work right along with them. Like that garden, if you leave it for 7 days without pulling out the weeds, it's going to be a lot harder to get rid of the weeds, and it'll just build up. So there's the buildup of energy that you can take on being a practitioner without having careful practices of cutting cords or releasing energy or keeping a clean and sanitized space ready to practice. Specific meditations that are given in Qigong to keep your space clean and to keep you clean, as well as filling your body with what it needs on a regular basis so that you can go out and serve other people. Again, it's a practice that's been around for 4,000 to 5,000 years. So if your practice does that, that's awesome. Just add one more and see the benefits.
I agree. I really do. And it's actually from a practitioner to a layperson, not that much different because you have that personal part that they do, and you always have other people in your life. So the layperson would want to learn this because of all those other things you said. Who doesn't want to be more healthy? Who doesn't want to have more personal growth? Who doesn't want to think more clearly? Or who doesn't just want to be happier? All of us want those things. We all want those little things that can improve. And if this practice could help with that, why wouldn't you want it? And it's been shown that it will help with all those things, like the conditions you mentioned and all that. And for a practitioner, as a practitioner as well, yeah, like why, if it can help you as a practitioner to not get burned out. Do you know how many practitioners I see to get burned out? It's like all the time because they do what you're saying. They get depleted or they just get run down from everything that they deal with and they pick up. Or if they're on a shaman mystic journey where they want to like increase power and radiance or whatever it is so that they can either heal others or counsel them well, this gives them a way to do that and learn how to do it in a safe way because there's sometimes it's not safe in those. And because it's a system, if you find a good teacher to help you, it's really a way to just kind of bring it all in and guide you through all the different aspects. And this builds this, builds this, builds this. There's a science to it. It's not just some system that's just like, whoa, 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 and I'm not criticizing them, but sometimes they don't tell them to root. They don't keep that connection. They all want to be up in the clouds, but they don't want to keep their feet on the planet. And this keeps you connected to both, which helps you be the truth of who you are. Because I think if we stripped everything else away, and I think you'll agree with me on this, Heather, it's about who are you? The real thing that Qigong can do for you is it will help you see who you are. and by helping you see who you are, who you really are, not the mask you put on yourself, and not all the things you might have felt like you've done, and not all the dark things, but it'll actually help you see the light within and help you know how to share that with other people around you. We've really enjoyed doing this for you guys tonight. We appreciate Tammy for giving us this opportunity. And so we've talked about what is Qigong, how do you know, how can you know it's real and that it works, right? How does a real person do this? How can you be able to make it happen for you? You know, and why would you use it is the last one, is why would you want to learn it? And all of those things, they're the base question of everything, right? Is the what, how, why? That's what we want to know about everything we do. And it's been fun to do this for you guys. We always learn every time we share. And we look forward to seeing you in classes or other things in the future. So Heather, do you have anything you'd like to close with?
I just want to thank Tammy for one, being the amazing person that she is, and the energy that she carries, and how she loves her communities, and my gratitude for being a part of this. So thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy, for everything that you do and what you put together for so many. It's really a heartfelt gratitude for everything you do for everyone. So thank you guys, and you guys have a great night.